Hey, welcome back. I bought this thing because I have a problem. They say that acceptance is the first step to recovery, and I have a problem with buying muzzle brakes. I have, well, a regular herd of them around here because I'm always looking to see if the muzzle brake can help me be better as a shooter. It's not like it's going to win a match for me. I have plenty of muzzle brakes and no match wins at this point in PRS. But I do realize that slight changes in how the rifle behaves can help me take the best advantage of the skills that I do have, because skills are what win matches, not muzzle brakes. At the same time, why not have the best shooting and most fun rifle to shoot you can? So today's candidate is the MPA DN5. Let's go out to the range and see if we can evaluate how this actually works for me. But you really can't assess how something works without comparing it to something else. Now, I've been shooting this barrel on this rifle with this chassis with this brake. This is the Kahuna brake by Tony Gore Precision. This is a good brake. It fits beautifully on a 1.25-inch straight contour barrel and just looks exceptionally good. It also shoots good, as you can see in this video. That particular stage, the rifle settled right on the target after each and every shot. No problem, no question. And it was pretty easy to shoot. I mean, let's be really honest about it. I saw what I needed to see and got the job done, and I don't think this brake is going to be any better in that context. But is there a certain context where a little more downforce would be good? Downforce is a double-edged sword. I mean, the Kahuna has some downforce, and I found with a very flexible, long, skinny barrel and a flexible stock, it tended to cause some oscillation after the shot, especially off of the bipod. I have another brake here that has a lot of downforce. This is the Ace brake by Ace Precision. And these are, the three of them, the only three brakes that I have that are rated for 6.5 millimeter diameter. Every brake that I am showing in this video is something that I purchased with my own money at full retail price. We're just trying them to see which one works best for this context. This context is a 26-inch barrel, 1.25 straight contour on a 6.5 Creedmoor, weighted to be balanced 4 3/4 inches forward of the magazine well. Everything else is kind of moot in this situation because it's just the barrel, the chassis, and the balance point that makes a difference when you're assessing a muzzle brake. So let's go ahead and take it out to the range and put this muzzle brake and the other two through a quick check to see how they behave relative to each other. We're not looking for total performance at this point. We're just looking to see how they behave compared to one another, because comparison is the basis for understanding differences. Now, I have two cameras here that are set at 240 frames a second. The first is off the left side of the rifle, pointed right at the muzzle brake. The idea is to catch the muzzle brake discharge to the best of my ability and to catch any oscillation between the barrel and the chassis. And here's what we got. Not bad, not a whole lot of oscillation. And here is the scope camera, also set at 240 frames a second. So it looks kind of jittery at full speed like that. Let's slow it down. Because I have this high frame rate, I can slow down to 10% of the normal speed. And you'll notice that the muzzle brake does push the muzzle down just slightly before it starts to rise. In order to do as fair of a comparison as I can, I'm setting up with no shoulder pressure and no cheek pressure on the rifle. In other words, I am trying my very best to not influence the recoil impulse of the rifle any more than absolutely necessary. I mean, I have to have both hands on the rifle, so we're going to get some influence from me, but I'm trying to minimize it to the amount I can. I stay with this particular methodology for shooting and move to the Ace brake. The Ace brake is a little different from the Kahuna. It has straight across baffles that are tilted forward at the top in order to put as much gas as possible through the top ports. This is supposed to have a lot of downforce to it. And I've never really assessed it before, so let's find out how much downforce it really does have. Once again, it pushes the muzzle down just slightly before the rifle runs into my shoulder and runs away upward. Up and to the left again, almost to the same exact place as the first shot. That means at least I'm consistent behind the rifle. Now let's go to the DN5 by MPA. This is supposed to be the downhill monster, so let's find out if it's going to push the muzzle down with any real force. Before we start looking through the scope for this particular muzzle brake, I want to show you the first shot from the side view, because the flexing of the chassis and the barrel is really interesting. Watch how the chassis and barrel clearances change through the shot process. this thing is pushing down pretty hard because it looks like somebody just whacked the barrel something fierce downward. It compressed the bag in the front and it actually flexed this chassis. This ACC Elite chassis is pretty darn stiff, so I was rather impressed with the amount of motion I got there. At the same time, the view through the scope was not bad. Here, I'll show you. Now, at full speed, it's really hard to see what's going on out there, so let's go ahead and slow it down to 10% speed. Remember, I'm filming at 240 frames a second, which is why the view is so small. It looks like I'm zoomed in at 35x. I'm actually at 20 and can see about 8 mils down. So I can see things that you can't in the video, but you're just going to have to trust me here. This is a good representation of what's going on. Now, I'm going to stop right here at this frame, just before I fire the shot. I want you to notice where the middle of the number 5 is. Reference the ladder. It's about 4 mils down. That's going to become important in about 2 frames. So let's go forward 2 frames here and look where the crosshair is. That's right, we're down somewhere between 3 and 4 mils from where we started. This is just the brake pushing down on the front of the rifle. It's pushing it down hard. I mean, really hard. At this point, the rifle runs into my shoulder, and guess what happens? You got it, it goes up and to the left. So I had a lot of downforce, it looked like. And I actually fired multiple shots. I'm only showing you one for the sake of time. But this does drive the muzzle down pretty aggressively. The question is it an objectionable amount in other positions? So let's go ahead and get a solid position and see what happens from a high kneeling position with the elbow on the knee.
Now I'm seeing trace.
Now, I am not a PRS pro. I don't have a perfect position, but I try my very best, and this is the result with the DN5. I'm not going to show you results with the other 2 muzzle brakes because I really didn't want to swap back and forth. That thunderstorm was bearing down on me, and I needed to get this done. That was impressive given the amount of energy that I'm putting into this entire system with the 6.5 Creedmoor. It's a lot of energy. Speaking of energy, the ammunition for this particular test is a 140 grain hybrid bullet being launched at 2,850 feet a second with H4350. In case you were curious, yes, we are doing a full house load. This is about the top end for this particular barrel. I can go just slightly faster, but the pressure starts to get high really quick at that point. The last thing that I do with any brake, after I've taken an initial look at it, is get down in prone. Because I have seen it before where a brake pushes down on the muzzle and starts an oscillation. It's an interaction of the stock, the barrel, and the brake that just causes problems. Sometimes it will sit there and bounce for so long that the bullet will arrive 1,000 yards downrange and the rifle is still moving. Not because you're moving, but because the rifle is still flexing and oscillating at a low frequency. So let's go ahead and fire a couple of shots from prone off of the concrete with a bipod and rear bag. Here's the first shot.
So we'll go 210.
And a little wind correction and a second shot.
Right in the middle of it.
Let me just give you my subjective feeling about this. First, that is probably the best video I have ever collected firing prone with any of my PRS rifles. Did I get my position perfect? No, I don't think so. Did I do something different other than change the muzzle brake? No, not really. Am I selling DN5s? No. I don't care if you buy one or not. You know, if you like this kind of behavior from a muzzle brake, this might be the brake for you. If you're not into that, there's plenty of others on the market. You know, I was just about to put the rifle away and thought about this. I won't know if this is the right brake for me for several matches. I'm going to have to shoot a few matches with it to understand how it behaves in the context of the totality of PRS shooting. For right now, we have made sure that it doesn't have any disqualifying characteristics. And from there, we're just going to go see how we shoot with it. All right, guys, until next time, shoot straight, and I'll see you in the next video.